welcome to episode 143 of Drew's Sports Crew here on this Sunday night. And yeah, my voice a little gone. And after a wild weekend of sports that features, of course, the Packers' best win of the season, it should be expected, honestly. That was an incredible game there for Green Bay. And look, I got all the details on it. Jordan Love does pull player of the game, as you see in the thumbnail. I'll discuss more on that performance. We'll kick off with that actually here in episode 143. And again, it's a late one here. So if you're listening to the audio, just letting you know, it's after 11 p.m. Central. I'm bringing you episode 143. And again, we're going to feature in this episode, of course, the Packers week 13 amazing win against Kansas City. And then we're also going to go into week 14. What's it looking like for the Green Bay Packers? And then also we'll talk about the in-season tournament here. We'll talk about the East quarterfinals kicking off Tuesday. That will feature the number 1 seed in the East, the Milwaukee Bucks. And they're playing the number 4 Knicks. We'll talk through that game and kind of how their first matchup went, a part of the in-season tournament. But from there, you might be wondering, where is the Brewer content? I'm waiting for the winter meetings, full disclosure, for Major League Baseball are happening here the first week here. Waiting for all that news to kind of, group together, and then we can kind of get all the news into one. So it's not, the Brewers did this, right? The Churio signing, the Wade Miley signing, some things going on there. And I think we're going to see some more moves this upcoming week. So that's kind of the thought behind why we're waiting on it. And plus, we got a lot of content here with Green Bay and the Bucks. So it all works out, in my opinion. But otherwise, let's get into it. Green Bay, I'll do the main announcements at the end, right? You all know the drill. At True Sports Crew, Instagram, X, and TikTok. All right. Packers, right? They come in this game 5-point underdogs at home. And in this one, right, talks about it being a great game for the Packers, and right, it started with Jordan Love, right, to kick off the game. They had a great opening drive, 13 plays, 75 yards, and you guessed it, if you had first touchdown, Ben Sims, right, a backup tight end for Green Bay, gets a 1-yard touchdown pass from Jordan Love. Carlson makes the kick at 7-0. Then we go to Harrison Butker. He gets a field goal to end the first quarter, making it 7-3. They basically answered back with a nice drive to end the first quarter. Did Kansas City. Then Green Bay gets the ball back at the 25. They just need 8 plays to get another touchdown. This one featured a 9-yard touchdown pass. Jordan Love to Christian Watson. And yeah, Carlson makes another extra point, right? 14-3. Harrison Butker, 14-6 here after he kicks a 34-yard field goal. So 14-6, again, halftime score. Isaiah Pacheco gets a 1-yard run in on an interesting play there. Or just basically there was debate if he was down or not. So they try to do a quick play and just an easy 1-yard touchdown run. 14-12 goes there. 9 plays, 75 yards. Another nice drive for Kansas City. They do fail that 2-point conversion. And all the trick plays we've seen from Kansas City, right? We've seen the trickery, some just cool formations, weird plays. Honestly, that 2-point conversion play was terrible. I mean, there's no else of looking at it. Not a good play. 14-12, that goes the score. Christian Watson then gets his second touchdown, a big touchdown there. He pulls it away from the defender, essentially. Just was behind him and just got good positioning. A great ball from Jordan Love. He has to throw that ball up. It's crazy the margin of error on a throw on that one. It had to be, upper, had to be near the defender's head or above to have the receiver reach down and grab it. Amazing throw and a great grab by Watson. Makes it 21-12, end of 3. And then we see in the fourth quarter a 2-yard touchdown pass. Noah Gray gets in. They're worried about Kelsey. Noah Gray, their backup tight end, gets in. Carlson makes a 40-yard field goal and a 48-yard field goal. Honestly, an unsung hero in this game is, in fact, Anders Carlson, a guy who Kansas City, or really I mean, Green Bay, for the most part, has been concerned. Maybe not the Packers themselves, but right, fans, media covering the team, concerned of how Carlson, some inconsistency there, especially with the extra points. He's 5 for 5 on all of his kicks tonight. Again, I mentioned he makes that 48-yard field goal that Love ended up pushing him back 5 yards by like just going down instead of trying to risk taking a sack, and one or was a sack, but you know what I mean. So they want to risk that, just fumbling the ball, and Carlson nails it, the 48-yarder, just a huge win for him. I think the crazy thing about this game was there was only 3 punts in the whole game. So just to note, which right meant there's a lot of action. It was a phenomenal game. Like, it was just a great game from a football perspective. There's no denying that. And I'll go. I still even talked about some of the great defensive plays like Keshawn Nixon. Wow, what an interception! I mean, just watching that from a pure football perspective, just an crazy play. Like, it was a ball that was tough to see. Like, he had like hands near his helmet. It was like, how do you come down with that? And just really good to see from Nixon, especially on the corner side, right? He's known for his special teams work, but getting to see him work also on the defensive side. Really enjoyed watching that in this one. But again, it all starts with Jordan Love, the player of the game, 25 of 36, 3 touchdowns. Honestly, you might say he got snubbed last week, but he didn't in my player of the game just because of how phenomenal Rashawn Gary was. But come on, Jordan Love had himself a day. It felt like all of his throws were connecting. That 4th-and-1 deep ball, crazy play to Dobbs was the one. Honestly, that was up there for one of his worst balls thrown of the day, which just tells you how good of a day he had, considering it was a completion there. So, really loved what I saw from Love. I think the mistakes, right, cutting out on those has made the difference for him, right, cutting out those turnovers. But then also AJ Dillon. AJ Dillon, who is someone I've been very hard on here on the show. I think that's many people have been. Played very well today. 18 carries, 73 yards, 4.1 a carry. Seemed to come up with just good runs when they were needed, right? If they needed, it was a 3rd and 1, they needed to, they just needed a yard to get the first down. He got that yard, right? And sometimes he got those nice 5-6 yard runs. All right, he had a big 10-yard run. I liked what I saw from AJ Dillon today. I was wondering why James Robinson was even in there. He did get a carry. I was like, oh, why is he in? But thankfully, they left it to Dillon, Patrick Taylor, and then they got Christian Watson rolling on the runs, which we like to see. The one guy who, right, I mean, with such a packed receiver core, it feels like if there's one guy every game who's gonna like miss out and not have a big game, or not a rather big game, but rather not have that target share that they anticipate on a game by game basis. Jayden Reed did get 5 targets at this one, so it wasn't really him, but Malik Heath only gained 2. Dontavian Wicks has really gotten in on the action here, 3 for 43 in this one. And then, of course, with Musgrave then still on the IR, Tucker Kraft gets in there, 6 targets, 3 for 37. I just love watching Kraft come out as a receiver too. That side of his game still has just been slowly growing and improving. So I've been very pleased with what we've seen from Kraft. Again, 6 targets on the day. Was actually second on the team. Of course, Christian Watson led the way. This is like last year, second half of the year, Christian Watson we're seeing right now. 9 targets, 7 receptions, 71 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's getting good targets, good usage too. Dillon has that 1 reception a game and only 1 target, thankfully. So that worked out on our end. And Dobbs had that big 33-yard play on that 4th-and-1 throw I mentioned. 4 for 72 for Dobbs on this one. So you'll love to see that from Green Bay's perspective. On the defensive side, Quay Walker, you bet, 13 tackles, led the way for the team there. But the big stats that we care about, right? Kenny Clark had a half sack. Rashawn Gary had a half. I thought that could have been a full sack. Surprised they changed it to that. Lucas Van Ness got in with a sack. Love to see that. And then a half sack for Preston Smith, half sack for Devontae Wyatt. Again, this team finished with 3 sacks on the night. So we'd love to see that. And overall, I think it was a great work by this Green Bay defense. Joe Barry's job is safe after a performance like this. And just a great win for the Packers. Again, 3 touchdowns for Jordan Love, player of the game. Exciting win for Green Bay, right? The one of the year is how I worded it, especially at the end of the game. Right? Was that a late hit on Jonathan Owens against Patrick Mahomes? By rule, right? I mean, looking at it, probably shouldn't have been called. You could see why it was called, since it looked like he was going to go out of bounds, right? He wasn't out of bounds, but he was going to go out of bounds. But it felt like the pass interference call again at the end of the game. It was a questionable one. There's no denying that. But look, Packers got the call their way. Some might say it was a makeup call. I definitely felt that watching from a fan perspective, even like, that's what you call makeup call. I mean, definitely one had bigger implications in terms of yardage than the other, right? We know that, but thought that this game just had it all though. Sorry, just like coming in my mind, right, is the other thing I want to talk about was that whole debacle where was he down, was he not? And then Isaiah Pacheco ends up throwing a punch at the end of it, like over on the other side. So it's like, okay, there's a flag. Is it a touchdown? We don't know. They end up going with the flag. So it was right. They got offsetting. They got it right there. It was offsetting penalties. Guy threw a punch, toss him. Okay, but then it ends up being reviewed and call is overturned. So then, right, if you all were watching the game, you all watched the game, just saw what I described. But the fact that just my comment on it is how it was done. That was just a wild sequence, and I think we got spoiled with just a great game overall. Football fans alike, Packer fans get a win, 6-6. Packers are in the thick of it. It's happening. The playoff picture right now, I'm reading it for you, and I got some good news. Right now, the Packers would be the 7th seed. Right now, here's how it works. So they have the tiebreaker over Rams, right, head to head. And then the division tiebreak. So they also have it over Seattle. And then also Seattle Seattle and the Rams are going to play again too. So that's going to be good for Green Bay. But we're in a weird spot where, Seattle losing puts them like, are they in or out? So it ends up being just a weird spot for Green Bay. Like they're like right in the middle kind of thing. I know there's 16 teams, so they're not like right in the middle, but it gets weird. And they play the Giants again, the 4-8 Giants. They play next week, so it impacts. It's a huge thing. Well, what is going to be cool about this is pending how Minnesota keeps playing. Right, they lose it to Chicago. I really change it up here. Right, you're not catching Dallas. We know that. You gotta get the 6 or the 7 spot, and the 6 or the 7 spot is not ideal, but right now would be a date with San Francisco. But my point is there's 4 teams, there's 2 spots. Minnesota, Green Bay, Los Angeles, and Seattle. All 4 are 6-6. Los Angeles being the Rams, of course. And there's 2 spots there. Not including Tampa or New Orleans. They're both 5-7, but certainly possible. Packers have headed over New Orleans, so it's like, okay, I don't find that too possible considering Rams and Seattle would also. There's a lot of things that would have to go right for New Orleans at this point. And then New York, I think New York down, those teams aren't making the playoffs. So that's what we're looking at, but it's crazy. Right now, Packers would be in the playoffs right now. Weird to think about based on how the middle of the season went. But again, you like the matchup next week. You might not like it's Monday Night Football, so you might not like that, but you do like the matchup. It's at New York, though, MetLife, at Turf. The next 3 games, New York, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's at home, and then at Carolina. You like your odds on all 3 of those. Packers are on a 3-game win streak. They've won 4 of the last 5. with that loss in Pittsburgh being the only one of the last 5. So momentum definitely in Green Bay's side right now. And you see that just in the division as well, right after beating Detroit 2 last week. So the tough part of the Packers schedule, how about that? At Detroit, Kansas City, you're like loss, start of the year. How about a win-win? Crazy how football is sometimes. That's gonna wrap up the football talk. Player of the game, right? I'll post more about Jordan Love, why he's the player of the game. It'll be after Sports Crew, Instagram, X, and TikTok. Well, really Instagram and TikTok. I'll have it up, and also YouTube Shorts, Drew's Sports Crew. I'll have it up tomorrow morning. You'll find that. Otherwise, right? Let's talk about the Milwaukee Bucks. How this past week went. Of course, the in-season tournament and the Bucks. Speaking of hot teams, talk about 4 of the last 5. That's exactly what Milwaukee's given you. We talked last week. Crazy win against Portland. Crazy comeback. Biggest comeback in franchise history. Then we get the game for in-season tournament. That implications on Tuesday. They win at Miami. Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler was ruled out. But Bam Adebayo had himself a game. Giannis also had himself a game, and he had 33 points, 10 rebounds. Lillard came in with 9 assists. Solid, was how I felt that game went for Milwaukee. Definitely the first 3 quarters were or quarters 2 and 3, I'd say, were the sloppy ones. They're up 9 end of 1, but Bucks really played nice throughout this game, and especially when it came down to crunch time, and having Damian Lillard, in that crunch time, and having him shooting free throws, 10 for 10 for the game. Giannis was 10 for 13 as well. They're 24 of 27. That's what wins you that game, was how I felt it was, and really good to see for the Bucks. A really good confidence building win too, especially at Miami. I would go to Thursday's loss being one of the most frustrating losses of the year. I think that's fair. Like that Toronto one earlier in the year was annoying, but I don't think you were really hanging your head down. You lost by 19. Otherwise, right, going through was Indiana, Orlando. They lose that. They had a 2-game stretch there, but you lose that one to Boston. I was like, okay. But I just think that overtime loss for the Bucks that just stands out to me as probably my most frustrating loss of the year. You just felt like the Bucks were going to win that game. Is all I mean by that. Is Bucks were up, at some point to win. It was like 75, 80%. And it just didn't go their way. And just tough to see. Alex Caruso had that, of course, crazy shot. But this Bulls team, 6-14, they get a win against the Bucks. Okay. You just live with it sometimes. And then they go Saturday against Atlanta. A tough win. They pulled out to win by 11, but Giannis logs his first triple-double of the year, and that gets him player of the week for the Milwaukee Bucks. My vote. And honestly, just love to see how Giannis played against, again, one of the worst defenses in all of basketball. And this game was just, you knew there was going to be a lot of points just based on the team's respective pace stats. They're both top 5, I believe, in pace, just like wanting to push the ball, get shots up. But then overall defensively, both these teams have struggled to an extent, and which led to a lot of points. And then you saw Giannis put up 32 points, 11 rebounds, 10 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. Turnovers do remain still a problem, 5 for him in this one. But then Lillard was the other guy, 25 points. He was 10 of 16. I think yesterday's game, again, I'm talking Saturday's game, Lillard's one of his most efficient games of the year. That other Toronto one where he just went absolutely berserk stands out, but come on, 38 minutes here, 10 for 16, gives you good minutes, 9 assists. I like what I saw from Lillard, especially yesterday. How about campaign? 18 points, 7-11. They went with a thinner rotation on Saturday, which was something I noticed. I'm thinking maybe because this is like type of in-season tournament kind of rotation we could see too. Saw a lot of campaign, 20 minutes, and then right AJ Green even got in there for 9, but otherwise, like Robin Lopez didn't play, Thanasis, guys like that. But right now, Pat Connaughton, the reason why Campaign got some minutes, I'll reiterate, right? No Andre Jackson Jr., no Pat Connaughton, and then no Jay Crowder, right? That's why we saw that. But if those guys aren't ready, is what I'm saying is this is actually something we could see. We could see Bo Champ getting 17 minutes, who had a plus 14 plus minus in those 17 minutes, played some winning minutes for the Bucks. And then Campaign, who puts up 18 points, may have had 5 fouls, but hey, still a nice offensive output for Payne in this one. And why I bring this up is, hey, we got Tuesday now at 6:30 Central. The number 1 Bucks play the number 4 New York Knicks. So the Knicks were, right, we talked about the top 3 teams out of the group plays in the Eastern and Western Conference, respectively, make their spot. But then what we had a wild card team in each. The wild card team for the Eastern Conference came out of the Bucks pool, and it was the New York Knicks. So the Bucks already played the Knicks, and it was a thrilling game earlier this year. I was actually at the game, and we saw the Bucks win that one. Jalen Brunson went for 45, and look, Julius Randle had one of his worst games of the season. Was how that game was. It was a 110-105 win. And now what we're looking at a rematch, this time though on TNT Tuesday at 6:30. I'm seeing tickets as low as $11, so I can see that although in season tournament quarterfinal, people really aren't feeling like they might want to go to it. So what I can tell you though is it would be a good game in terms of, right, Bucks win this, they beat the Knicks. Well, let's go hypothetical. They play the winner of Pacers Celtics. And come on, you'd love to see a Bucks Pacers rematch or a Bucks Celtics rematch. Both those respective rematches would be good for the Bucks. That Thursday game will be at 4 p.m. Disgusting time. Why at 4 p.m. on a Thursday? Don't we want to like make this more popular, right? Don't they want to attract new fans to this in-season tournament? 4 p.m. on the Thursday is not going to do it. I'll tell you that. It's on ESPN. And then we have 8 p.m. on Thursday will be the West semifinal. Okay, can live with the Thursday. We're competing with Thursday Night Football there, but why not just stick it to the Friday? Like, could they actually not do that in the schedule? Do it Friday night so we're not competing with football? I don't know. Saturday goes the championship, though. Saturday at 7:30 Central will be your championship. That's on ABC is where that will be. And this is all in Vegas, of course, right? That's where if there's something new, it's got to be in Vegas. That's how they're doing it these days. And that's what we're looking at. So I'm looking at the slate, right? So Lakers, Kings, Pelicans, Suns are the Western Conference, and that's Bucks, Pacers, Celtics, Knicks. Overall, a good slate, right? Honestly, you're looking at all 8 teams should and probably will be in the playoffs when the actual playoffs when the season comes to end. And that's what we're looking at. So no real surprises. So it wouldn't be like, I know they're like, oh, what if you added like the team that won this tournament got guaranteed playoff spots? Probably won't matter in this case. So just gonna be cool to see how this works out. I'm still skeptical. I want to see if they do this. I think this is gonna be the only sport that's gonna try this, and I wonder if they're just gonna revert back when the CBA expires again. But we'll wait and see on it. Go Bucks. It makes it weird doing the Bucks prediction challenge. How am I supposed to do the Bucks prediction challenge? I say they win Tuesday, and then I say Thursday. They play TBD. I think that's what I'm gonna do. They play Thursday and they play Saturday. TBD, because I don't know what else to do. This is unprecedented for me, but that's what the plan is moving forward. But to wrap us up here, a great week for Wisconsin sports, unless you are a Golden Eagle or Panther fan, which I am both of those. So that didn't go my way. But how about the Packers? How about the Bucks? Kind of saved it there. How about the Brewers making some nice moves? Going through the schedule this week, Wednesday at 4 p.m., you guessed it, Journey to a Million, Zach Roush, Jared Valesky, and myself, Drew Skyberg, joining you for that. Otherwise, I'm hoping this Wisconsin Sports Spotlight episode, I'm hoping it'll happen. I'm just working on just getting back on specific times and whatnot. And once I do, I will keep you all posted on and get that scheduled. But again, looking forward to having this guest on. Just phenomenal career. And that's what's up here in this upcoming week of the Sports Crew. So that's going to wrap it up for myself, Drew Skyberg, here on this Sunday night. Have a great week, everybody. Thank you all for listening to yet another episode of Drew Sports Crew, the perfect podcast for you.